Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to the SWAN Pricing Show. Today we're talking about mentioning the price. So, in what we like to call the duck world, which is the commoditized services space, the common case, it doesn't really matter when the price is mentioned. You should mention the price. Actually, maybe um maybe the sooner you mention the price, the better, like you said in the pre-show. So it matters, right? But it's completely different in the SWAN pricing stage, right, world, because mentioning the price early, especially by the client, is a bad sign, right? And them reaching out and inquiring about the price later in the conversations is actually a very good sign. It's a buying sign. So can you explain why the early mention of the price is bad?
Sure. Yeah. The point is, if you are mentioning very early the price, it is kind of the commodity world. But not only that, you're giving also quite often the prescription before the exam, which is wrong in expertise-based business. You need to get a proper look and feel of the complexity of the project, dig deeper, understand entire outline, and based on that, talk about the pricing. And also, what I always suggest to the experts is that they should be leaning towards the conversation about the budget. And within the budget, you have your service, additional stuff, etc. Because that way you can also understand how they are even seeing the project long term and what is their overall perception of the requirements, so you can actually with them and as a team deliver that project until the successful end. And as said, if you are mentioning pricing way too early, the bad thing is that you can make a wrong assumption and estimate of the complexity before you even hear what are the true requirements. And also, the second thing is people who are being focused as potential clients and prospects towards the pricing and asking, okay, how much does it cost? They're quite often, and in majority of cases, price buyers, and they want to compare your price to your competition, practically compare uncomparable elements, because they only think they understand what they need, but they are here speaking with the expert because they actually need help and support and the guidance towards the successful finalization of the project.
Yeah, because it's in like that very old joke. So how much is a drop of petrol, right?
Yeah.
So that's free. Great. Could you please drip me the full tank, right? Unless you know the scope, it's very hard to actually set the price for sure. And can you also make the contrast toward the duck pricing? So why do you want to get to the price as soon as possible there, but not here?
Okay. Important is also time-wise to get as fast as possible to some kind of result and to get the proper insight what you can expect, because you can, and what is happening in expertise business, in the name of the future and for the promise of maybe people are having multiple iterations, meetings, speaking about the project, how it is awesome, giving away the know-how, giving away the consulting and entire asset, what should be a part of paid consultancy. And after that, they're getting and reaching the financials. So you already over-involved yourself, wasted maybe 4 or 5 hours or 4 or 5 meetings with the respectable prospect about the project, and you see there is no alignment, budget-wise, organization-wise, and even in some other fields. And that is the reason why you should be aiming towards and understanding and getting the relevant information about the budget as soon as possible.
Cool. Yes, because I've been in that situation where we both very excitedly spend, 3 meetings talking about the project, and then you and then you say, well, for the second phase, there's like the second phase. What do you mean? Well, the first phase is what we initially talked about, and the second phase is needed to implement. Oh, is that going to be costing extra? Yes, of course, right? How much? I don't know, 10,000, right? 10,000. We thought we have a budget of 800 for the whole thing. Oh, okay. Why?
Yeah.
That would have been helpful to know in the first few minutes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry for interrupting you, but just one interesting pattern in expertise-based field. What I wanted to share with our audience is the fact that, okay, the first initial conversation is free of charge, introduction, speaking about the potential, etc., etc. But mainly, in majority of cases, if you aren't able to be paid on the second meeting for anything from your service repository, the third meeting doesn't have any kind of sense, because on third meeting you're already involved and there won't be any money involved. So that is also the fact, because also the professionals, people who are very proactively thinking about the perspective of their respectable projects, they are already invested and they are ready to invest. They don't know the amount. So that is the reason why they're speaking with you as a professional who can help them and guide them.
Yes.
Others are just time wasters. And that is something where you need to set up proper and healthy boundaries to save yourself in the end and your time.
And the way you save yourself is you take control over when the price is mentioned, and you mention it first.
Exactly.
Because people have this notion, I just have to keep them talking and talk about quality and nice things, right? And if I just talk for long enough, they might just say, yes, let's do it, and not even mention the price. And then I just slide them a check, and then everybody, is happy with this, and we never have to negotiate. And that's about as realistic as saying, I've been gambling the whole afternoon and I'm really, out of money. But if I gamble for long enough, I'm bound to be lucky, right?
Now it's my time. It's my turn to win.
I have a system now. So 6 times in a row I lose. Now I win big, right? So yes. And the client mentioning the price is worse than you mentioning the price when you want to. The client mentioning the price at the beginning is a bad sign, because then they think they understand enough to simply compare you. So if somebody does that, especially if that's like their first question right out of the gate, probably start looking toward the exit of that conversation, or do something reckless, because you're not winning this one anyway, unless something exceptional happens, right? But if you don't get to your price soon enough, and the client does it for you, but at the end of the conversation, that is, as they usually say in sales, it's a buying sign, right? But they usually don't take this nuance. They say, asking for prices is a buying sign. No, not really. It's a buying sign if you're selling commodities. It's not a buying sign universally if you're selling something that should probably be more defined and explained each and every time, because even if you do the exact same thing on your side, on the client's side, it's going to be completely different in effect. Usually they say, making the exact same logo for a mom and pop pizza shop or a nationwide chain might be the exact same logo, but its effect is going to be much, much bigger. So it's not about what you do, it's about the value. right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that needs to be defined in order for you to find the correct kind of
Mhm.
pricing, right?
Yeah, and also one thing to add on to that, because you helped me remind. Quite often experts are making mistake. They create an amazing sync with the prospect on the spot, and practically the sales conversation turns towards the brainstorming. So often the sync is so good that they even don't enter the discussion about the price or the budget. They're both so happy about the next session. Cool and okay, but what is the point in the end of line? You don't. It's not about the control. It is about the structure, and structure also dictates the level of authority.
Yes.
And practically, as we spoke previously about the confidence and borrowing confidence and everything. And clients are those who need help and support and guidance. And you, as the expert, should be the one to deliver that. Meaning, no matter the sync is great, it's awesome, but tangible and clear path and stages need to be out there, elaborated, communicated in their respectable time and manner. And that is very important.
Yes, absolutely. So in general, if you're going to say your price somewhere like about the 20th minute of a half an hour conversation would be ideal. So it's ideal that you broach the subject after you've worked out something about the value, and maybe you give them options. We talked about this. It's good to give them options. Or you simply say, okay, is this, you start asking about their budget, or you start saying, so they say, we don't really know. You can say, okay, would you be happy with a basic model or something more advanced, or the best thing that I can give you? And then you go and you make that offer, and you make a couple of options, and then that's the either the email or the meeting or the e-meet number 2, where you set the price, right?
Mhm.
But if you say your price too early, that's also an option that we didn't talk about. I think that sounds defensive.
Very often, yeah. Especially as I mentioned initially, if you're giving, it's like it's the segmentation tool. Okay, you accept it or you refuse. There is no other way around. You didn't even hear the other side, which they have to say to you, and that is also there is also a very big difference between bespoke solution and things which already have the outline and communicating the value. So there needs to be adequate level of understanding the scope, so you can adequately communicate in the respectable time frame the amount. Because as you said, if you're communicating that even too early, that can be defensive. And yeah, it's also kind of strange situation for the prospect. Okay, okay, I understand that you're requesting some money from me. It's not an issue. I just wanted to understand and hear your thoughts about this or that. So yeah, even people can be perceived arrogant because of
Yes.
that. I heard quite a bunch of that
if the
respectable
price is
cases.
low,
And
if the price is low and you say it first, early in the conversation, that sounds defensive. So you don't have to hurt me, I'm cheap.
yeah.
And so I give up already, right? You roll over. And if the price is not cheap or seen as not cheap, it can be dismissive or arrogant. So either way, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Exactly, because as you said, you can't possibly know in advance everything that you need to know about this client's case, because it's you're not selling things. It's not, a toy car that you either go home with or not. It's going to be different. And I would add, even if you do know all the facts, because this is like client number 4, and if you already served 70 of them, and you basically can guess what they're going to say, because this is so common and everybody thinks it only happens to them, but it happens to many people. Even then, it's good to let them talk.
Absolutely. You respected the person with whom you have a dialogue, and that is basic stuff. In the end, you are definitely, none of us are the people who know everything. The same is with them. So we need to understand that, appreciate that, and respect that. Other way around, it is simply bad practice.
Yes, I agree. So just to let's say, to recap, the timing, a conversation becomes a negotiation as soon as somebody mentions a price. And when that happens is actually really relevant. Because unlike in the duck world, in the commoditized services world, you really don't want to broach the subject too soon. And you don't want them to do that either. Because if they do, they're probably just trying to comparison shop, and they're not serious. If you do that too early, you are either going to be seen as defensive or dismissive. So the next best thing would be for the client to inquire about the price at the end of the conversation, because that's a buying sign. And even better than that, you can actually control when that happens and choose the exact right moment to do that by the 10 to 20 minute mark, and then you're golden, right? I think that's I think that's the first decent summary that we made, but you know.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It takes all sorts. I think what always helps is trying to appeal to the client's understanding of the situation. They have to both understand something and feel like they understood it. There's some cases when they maybe understood, but they feel like they misunderstood, or even worse, they already think they know everything, which they don't. So you have to, it's basically your job, it's our job as the experts to ensure that the client both understood and feels like they have, and then we could talk about pricing, right? Cool. Philip, where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn and also on my business mentorship page, philipzalota.com.
I am on fearless-pricing.com and LinkedIn and many more places where you dare to look. People, very happy to see you again, and see you next time.
See you. Take care. Bye-bye.